Hey, podcast people, welcome to the show. This is the Nap Time Podcast, and I am your host, Todd Napper. Today, we are going to be introducing a few new segments to the show. We're going to be doing Today in History, but with my own personal take with them. I am going to read the history, having not looked at it, and then give my take on it. And then, we will also do the Joke of the Week, and then also, we are going to introduce a new segment called What's Going On? And you'll see why I did that later. Let's start the show. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. This is the Nap Time Podcast, and I am your host, Todd Napper. I want to go ahead and already ask your forgiveness for my voice today. It is a little croaky. I have a little bit of sinus things going on, and so it kind of sounds like it probably sounds like I'm pretty stuffed up, which I am. So if you do hear some sniffs and snorts and in the show, sorry. I just had to do it one time. If you if you hear that in the show, I'm sorry. Oh man, I probably should edit that out, but I'm not going to. This is me, real life, and this is what I do. So, thank you, everybody. I'm sure I just lost everybody on that one, and I'm probably not going to have any more listeners ever in the podcast, in my history of my podcast. Okay, or in the future of my podcast. So, all right. Anyway, today we're going. Sorry, I cracked myself up. Today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to do the Today in History, but I have not read these articles. I've read the headlines and kind of chosen a few articles of what happened on today, which is March the 1st, and I'm going to read the headline, and I'm going to then read the article. So without wasting any more time, let's get started. All right, so today in history, today is March the 1st, 2020, and we have quite a few things going on today in history. So I may edit some of these out, and I may cut some of the podcast short, the other areas of the podcast short, so it's just because we have so much to look back to in history. It's quite a busy day, apparently. All right, so here we go. Today in history. Jim Morrison exposes himself. All right, that's a great thing to do right there. March 1st, 1969, the lead singer of The Doors, Jim Morrison, allegedly exposes himself in front of a Miami concert audience. Why would he do that? Well, what's the point? He was arrested 3 days later and convicted the following year, but he died while out on bail, awaiting appeal. Interesting. I wonder how old he was whenever he did this. Obviously I don't do any research on any of these. I just read them live on air, so this is the first time I'm actually reading this whole thing. So I wonder how old he was whenever this happened. But does anybody actually know what the door? I don't know. I don't know any of the Doors songs. I'm one of those kind of people who knows bands and I know songs. But unless I actually hear the band and the song together, it's hard for me sometimes to actually, unless I listen to that band quite often. And the Doors, it would not be one of those bands that I listen to quite often. So, the drummer John Densmore maintains that Morrison never actually exposed himself. So, what did he do? In 2010, Florida Governor Charlie Crist granted him a posthumous pardon. Interesting. Okay, so why would he... That doesn't make sense either, because why would somebody give him a pardon after the fact that he's dead? I mean, that's not going to do him any good, unless just to clear his name. So, that doesn't really make any sense to me, so whatever. So, that happened in 1969. And March 1st, 1954, we have the first hydrogen bomb fatality. Okay. A U.S. H-bomb test at Bikini Atoll near the Marshall Islands exposes a Japanese fishing crew to fallout. Okay, well, that was smart. The fishing boat was outside of the declared danger zone, but the bomb was twice as powerful as predicted and covered the ship and crew with radioactive ash. The crew attempted to leave the area, but spent several hours retrieving fishing equipment from the sea, increasing their exposure. While being treated for radiation sickness, see, I told you this was live. The crew members contracted hepatitis from the blood transfusions. Boy, this was a cluster from the beginning. Wow. Akichi Kuboyama. Kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya. The boat's chief radio man died the following September from an underlying liver cirrhosis compounded by the secondary hepatitis infection. Interesting. See, this is another reason why I need my wife in here on these things, so that she can actually listen to she can actually some of these medical terms. March 1st, 1932. Charles Lindbergh's 20-month-old son is kidnapped. Ew, okay, this ain't good. He was found dead 2 months later. Bruno Hauptmann was arrested for the crime in 1934 after using one of the ransom money bills at a gas station. $14,600 of the ransom money was found in his garage. Hauptmann was found guilty of first-degree murder and executed by electric chair in 1936. Yeah. He deserved it, if he did it. He claimed his innocence to the end. Okay. Here's my quick shot off of it. My quick thoughts on this is, okay, some of these guys who claim their innocence to the end, one, if you did it, if you know you're going to die anyway, at least fess up to it and let the people have a little bit of clarity about what happened. And okay, so if he didn't do it, how did this money end up in his garage? And did he just magically stumble upon it? Oh, wow, $15,000. Did he sell a car? This is 1932, so a car, if he was selling a car for almost $15,000 or more, obviously it's going to be more if it's only that. How did he end up with that amount of money? And almost $15,000 was not a small amount of money back in 1932. So then it's more than likely that he did it then. And if that's the case, fess up to it, man. Seriously, quit. You're not helping anybody. You're not helping yourself because you're already going to die for it. And second of all, give the family some closure. Man, this is stupid. And why in the world would you want to kidnap? Well, why would you want to kidnap anybody for that? Anyway, so that's a whole nother rant. And March 1st, 1936, the construction of the Hoover Dam is completed. Someplace that I've never been before, and I would like to go. That would be pretty cool. And just a thought, I wonder how many people have stood up at the top of that and gone, damn! Anyway, I apologize for my more sensitive listeners on that one. So, anyway, yeah. That is a place I would like to visit, though. That would be pretty cool. I definitely would be one of those people who would do that, stand at the top and do that. But 1872, March 1st, Yellowstone National Park is established by the U.S. Congress. It was the first national park in the U.S. and is also considered the first national park in the world. That's cool. It is the home of Old Faithful, a cone geyser that erupts every 44 to 125 minutes. See, now that's something I didn't know. I was under the impression on that one that it actually was timed every 60 minutes. That's why they call it Old Faithful, because it was like right around every 60 minutes. So every 44 to 125. I don't know why. And that's another place that I've actually never been to, and another place I would like to go to. If we're talking about different places that I'd like to visit as far as national parks, I'd like to visit Yellowstone National Park. I'd like to go to the Grand Canyon, obviously. Just some of these bigger places I've never been to. I've never seen Mount Rushmore. I'd like to see that. And just a few of these little national parks and things that I'd like to go to. I'd like to see some of these things. It's going to be definitely some trips that my family takes in the future. March 1st, 1867, Nebraska becomes the 37th state. Cool. That is definitely overshadowed by this next one here. March 1st, 1845. Uh-huh. This, you need to pay attention to this one. This is the most important state that is territory that became a state. U.S. President John Tyler signs a resolution annexing Texas. Texas was admitted to the Union as the 28th state in December. And in my opinion, that is the best state to be ever added to the Union. And in my opinion also, I think that we should have never joined up. I think that we should have kept that area. If people look at maps of the state of Texas back when it first was a territory and was actually its own country, we were a lot bigger than what we are now. So in my opinion, we should have kept that area that we had before and just kept it as our own little country and told the United States to go jump off a bridge and go jump off the Hoover Dam that hadn't been completed yet. But anyway, March 1st, 1803, Ohio became the 17th state. What is it about the 1st of March that has all of these all these territories becoming states? Interesting. Ohio is Iroquois for Fine River. And on a personal note, I used to live in Ohio. I lived in Ohio for 5 or 6 years. From when I was a year old to right before I was 6 or 7. I don't know. I don't remember. But it was pretty cool. I like it up in Ohio. It's a pretty country. I would definitely want to stay away from it during the winter, though, because, it's cold, and Todd does not like the cold. That's why I live in Texas. Texas has had it's had a pretty mild winter this year. It's been a lot of rain. Wow, a ton of rain. And let's see. March 1st, 1815. Napoleon escaped his island exile in the Tyrrhenian Sea and landed at the Canis with 1,000 men and proceeded to march to Paris. Louis the 18th fled to Ghent, and Napoleon entered Paris on March the 20th, marking the start of the 100 Days' War. The war included Napoleon's famous defeat at the Battle of Waterloo. It lasted from March 20th until July 8th, 111 days. Why do they call it the 100-Day War if it lasted more than 100 days? That's ridiculous. And yeah, that's all I've got to say about that. I don't know a whole lot about Napoleon, except he was a short dude, and everybody who has all the short guys, me included, who have issues and have these little short man complexes. That's where the Napoleon complex came from, because Napoleon was a short dude and he wanted to take over the world. So that, and he liked to have his hand in his coat. Nobody wanted it. I wonder why he did that too. That's kind of weird. But anyway, some things I need to look up, I guess. Yeah, let's see. Keep going. My goodness. I told you there's a lot of things going on today in history. Here's an interesting little fact. The United State of Franklin. In 1788, the U.S. state of Franklin ceases to exist. Okay. It had been created in 1784 when East Tennessee declared itself an independent state. However, Congress denied its legitimacy. That's an interesting little fact. So I'm assuming that the state of Franklin was named after Benjamin Franklin. That's kind of what I would assume there. Now, moving on to notable birthdays from March the 1st. March the 1st, 1954, Ron Howard was born. A lot of people probably know Ron Howard from the Andy Griffith Show. He's an American actor from the Andy Griffith Show from 1960 to 1968. He was Opie Taylor. And Happy Days, Richie Cunningham. He was in American Graffiti, The Shootist, Splash, Cocoon, Apollo 13. He was the director of Apollo 13. Actually, some of these, quite a few of these, he's actually the director of. Let's see.